Here, the first thing I did is I made a chart. You could do this on your paper and list. Parents, this is where you're going to have to help a little. Have them list all 6 items that your child picked. In the second one, I wrote the length. We're going to measure how long or tall something is. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out which is the longest item and which is the shortest item. So here is Mrs. R's basket of items. I have a ruler. I have a measuring tape. Some of you might have a measuring tape like this at home. They tend to be really long and have numbers up to the number 60. Some of you might have a measuring tape like this at home, and we can definitely use one of those too. But sometimes we don't have anything like that to measure at home. So what you can take is just a piece of string about the length of your child's arm, and we can take some tape, and then we will mark on the string how long each item is. And I'll show you how to do that as we go along. Now, I went around the classroom this morning and I picked 6 different objects. I picked a puzzle box. I picked a book. I picked this green Lego, a wooden block, a little fire truck, and I picked a paintbrush. The first thing on my list is actually a paintbrush. So that's the first thing I'm going to use I'm going to measure, and I'm going to use the ruler. Now remember, when you use a ruler, you start at the end where the 1 is. There should be a 0 here. And what we're going to do is I get to just lay this right on top. And when I'm looking at it, I notice that it's between the 6 and the 7. So I'm going to call that about 6.5. This is a great way for parents and kids at home to be writing their numbers too, because that's really important. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write a 6 here. And it is in inches, like Mr. I and his impossible inches. And the next thing on my list is the car. And I'm going to use the measuring tape to use the car. Whoops. Okay, so remember, we're going to start at the back and go all the way to the front. And that's almost right exactly at the number 4. This fire truck is 4 inches long. Okay, the next thing we are going to measure is my book. And to measure my book, I'm actually going to use my string. So I'm going to take my string, I'm going to hold it at the top of the book, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the book. Now, this is how we use the tape, okay? You're going to take a piece of tape, we're going to have it at the top, put it at the bottom of the book, and that is where you're going to put your piece of tape. Now, if you still have that pencil, all you're using is the string, this would be a great place to write book, so we know how long it is. Also, if you're using the string, you won't necessarily need a piece of paper because you'll have all your measurements right there on one string, and then you'll know exactly how long or how tall that book is. But since I'm making the chart, I'm also going to use my ruler. I'm going to start at the top and go to the bottom, and you can see that that's almost to the 6. It's a little short, but it is almost to the 6. So I'm also going to write a 6 here. We'll figure out it later. All right. The next thing I have is a puzzle. This is a puzzle of the United States. I'm going to use this kind of measuring tape. Now, we've been doing how tall things are, or how long. So I'm going to start here. Whoops. Hang on. There we go. And I can see that if I start at the top and go all the way to the bottom, this puzzle is about 9.5 inches long. I'll even do the half on this one. How's that? All right. The next thing I have is my Lego. I'm going to put my ruler right at the end and come all the way here. And you can see that the Lego is almost 5 inches long. It's just a little short, but we're going to use round numbers. And the last thing Mrs. R has here is this little wooden block. I'm going to use the ruler for this one too. I'm going to start at the end and measure it all the way to the end. Now this is almost to the 3. It's a little short, but it's almost to the 3. So this block is 3 inches long. All right, now that we've measured all of our items, here's what we're gonna do. You can take a minute and pause the video and measure all of your own items, or you can wait to the end of the video. But next, we're gonna talk about which item was the longest. So when I'm looking at our chart, the biggest number I see is right here. Our puzzle box was the longest object we had. So I'm gonna take my pen and I'm going to write first, right here. Now, look at our list. What was the second longest item? I see that we had the paintbrush and the book. Both say they were 6 inches. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take my book, I'm gonna take my paintbrush, and I'm gonna put them right next to each other. Look at that. The paintbrush is longer. We said the paintbrush was just over 6 inches, and we said the book was just short of 6 inches. So the paintbrush is our second longest item, and then our book would be our third longest item. All right, let's look at the rest of our numbers. Which comes next? Does the 4, the 5, or the 3? You're right. 5's the next biggest number. So our Lego was the 4th longest item that we had. Now let's look at our last two things. I have the car that was 4 inches, or I have the wooden block that was 3 inches. What do you think? You're right. The car would come next. The car was our 5th longest object, which makes our wooden block our shortest. Or max 6. All right, boys and girls, that is our interactive lesson for today. Now it's your turn. At home, go around with your parents, pick 6 items, and get some measuring done. Have a great day.